Disney, the owner of ABC News and daytime talk show The View, is now the subject of a new report claiming CEO Bob Iger is urging the show's host to tone down their criticism of President Donald Trump. To sources cited by the Daily Beast, both Disney's CEO and ABC News' president have had conversations with show hosts, which indicated the higher-ups wanted the panel to tone down their political rhetoric.
Picture this. You're the CEO of Disney, the company that gave us Mickey Mouse and fairy tales. But one of your daytime shows has turned into a daily Trump-bashing machine that's causing serious problems for your family-friendly brand. That's exactly what happened to Bob Iger when The View became what critics call an unhinged hate fest against President Trump.
Now let's move on to the reports that the Disney CEO and as well as the ABC News boss have told the hosts of The View to dial down the anti-Trump commentary on their program. Kinsey, calling it anti-Trump commentary barely covers it. It's unhinged hate and hyperbole day in and day out.
And I'm sure it won't surprise you to know that there has been some pushback from the host. Now, Trump, continuing his battle with the media, is in mediation right now with Paramount Global over a $20 billion lawsuit regarding CBS News' 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris.
The ladies of The View got really bad news. Apparently, the head of Disney, the CEO of Disney, the man or the company who actually owns ABC, it's the parent company of ABC where The View is hosted, he's tired of the anti-Trump stuff. You know, it seems to me that their show basically is just focused on nonstop attacks on Trump. And if you don't have Trump, what the hell are they going to do? What would that show be about? Well, Bob Iger has dropped the hammer. He said, look, no more. You got to tone it back. And apparently the hosts are fighting this. They want to be able to keep talking about Trump. And they won't even bring on Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson about their book on the Biden presidency. Why? Because they had Biden on last week. They're complicit in the cover-up. They don't want anybody on there that's going to say the truth about a Democrat. Come on. Can't have that on The View. The View is named The View and not The Views for a very specific reason. You get one view.
Oh, okay, so you have to read this thing.
Oh, I've got a legal note. I do have a quick legal note.
You gotta milk this cow.
Yes, I have a legal note.
Do you have a legal note again?
Oh, I do. Wow, another one.
So what?
I have two legal notes.
Ginny denied any conflict of interest between her activism and her husband's work on the Supreme Court.
Well, she doesn't talk to him at night.
That's my legal notes. But let me say this very quickly. Ginny Thomas has denied any conflict of interest between her activism and her husband's work.
You got a
legal note.
legal
I have
note.
a legal note. Trump denied Esper's claims about wanting to shoot protesters. I have a legal note.
Always want us to be respectful and do the things and talk about the stuff we talk about. We can do all of that. But when you are blatantly giving the country the middle finger, that is blatant. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take the plane.
Don't you think when he lets these white Africans in and claims that's giving the middle finger to the black community? My God.
Allegedly have received a warning from Disney CEO Bob Iger about their Trump derangement. Okay, the ABC News boss told The View host to tone down the anti-Trump criticism, according to a report. Now, the timing of this is very, very, very fascinating because we know that ABC News was on the receiving end of a lawsuit from President Trump after George Slopopotamus ended up defaming the president on national television in an interview with Nancy Mace, in which
dial it down. That is Disney CEO Bob Iger's message to the hosts of The View, who are known for their hot takes and blunt criticism of the president and his administration. ABC parent company Disney is reportedly feeling the pressure from the president.
That's according to the Daily Beast, that outlines a call with ABC's president and The View's executive producer. Iger told hosts Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sonny Hostin, Anna Navarro, Sarah Haynes, and former Trump aide Alyssa Farah Griffin to cool it on the political rhetoric.
During a meeting between ABC News' president and all of the ladies of The View, the hosts were told they needed to create a better balance of their show content, instead of it being heavily weighted on politics. According to the report sources, the ladies were told to try and focus more on celebrity appearances and lifestyle segments because ABC's president said those episodes perform well for the show.
But the women of The View reportedly told their bosses to take a hike. One source reportedly saying, quote, "This is what our audience wants. Isn't it going to look kind of bad if we're all of a sudden not talking about politics?" They ultimately decided they weren't having it with the, quote, "silly requests," and said they would just keep doing their thing.
In response to the report, former co-host of the show, Meghan McCain, took to X, saying simply, "They will never do that."
Bad when The View, a show that is basically coffee gossip and yelling about Trump, gets told by ABC executives, you've got to take down the Trump criticism a notch. According to multiple reports, ABC News presidents, this is going to be a tough one, Alman Karamedovic sat down with the co-hosts and said less Trump, more celebrities. Disney CEO Bob Iger reportedly backed it up as well. Disney owns ABC.
She even had the nerve to say, "I love you too." Really? What? So what happened? Because, I mean, that's not a conspiracy. We just watched you, we just heard you say it. That was straight from y'all stage. And then in addition to that, Trump mentioned how he helped her with her movie free of charge. No money, no hate, no drama. Everybody's cool. So what changed? Could it be that Trump was the villain all along? Or did The View just, switch up their script real quick to sell fear and fear-mongering?
Every single day, hosts like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar would spend their entire show attacking Trump with relentless political commentary. Disney built its empire on bringing families together, not dividing the country with political warfare. But The View had transformed from a casual chat show into a political battleground that was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Iger found himself trapped between two impossible choices. On one side, he had a show making millions in revenue. On the other side, he had a brand that represents childhood magic and wholesome entertainment. The breaking point came when advertisers started getting nervous about being associated with constant political controversy. The Disney name was becoming linked to daily political attacks instead of the family entertainment it was famous for. By the way, before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's continue with what happened next. Bob Iger decided to take action. He sent ABC News president Alman Karamedovic to have a serious face-to-face meeting with The View hosts and their executive producer. This wasn't a casual workplace chat. This was about the future of one of daytime television's biggest shows. Karamedovic walked into that meeting room with orders from the top. He told Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest of the panel that they needed to completely change their approach. Instead of spending every episode attacking Trump, he wanted them to focus on celebrity interviews, lifestyle segments, and lighter entertainment content. The ABC executive pointed out something interesting. When The View featured famous actors or talked about non-political topics, those episodes performed really well with audiences. He was basically telling them that their obsession with Trump was becoming predictable and potentially boring for viewers. Karamedovic suggested they follow the successful formula of celebrity appearances and lifestyle segments because those episodes brought in solid ratings without creating corporate headaches. He was trying to steer the show back to its original format of being a casual daytime talk show rather than a political war zone. But The View hosts weren't exactly known for backing down from fights, and their response was about to shock everyone. The response from The View hosts was immediate and defiant. These women built their careers on being outspoken and controversial, so when corporate executives tried telling them what to discuss, they fired back with full force. During that tense meeting, one host spoke up and delivered a line that captured their rebellion perfectly. "This is what our audience wants. Isn't it going to look kind of bad if we're all of a sudden not talking about politics?" The hosts argued that their viewers tuned in specifically to hear political commentary and Trump criticism. They believed that switching to celebrity fluff pieces would betray their audience and destroy what made The View unique in daytime television. Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Ana Navarro had turned political attacks into their personal brand. They saw themselves as voices of resistance, giving their mostly female audience a platform to hear their own political frustrations expressed out loud. The women made it crystal clear that they weren't going to water down their message or censor themselves just to make Disney executives comfortable. They essentially told their corporate bosses to take a hike and decided they would keep doing exactly what they wanted. The meeting ended with the hosts completely rejecting ABC's suggestions and vowing to continue their political approach. But Disney wasn't finished yet. The real drama happened during Disney's upfront presentation, a fancy event where the company tries to convince advertisers to spend millions on their shows. This is where the biggest advertising deals get made. At this high-stakes event, Ana Navarro made a bold move. She walked directly up to Bob Iger and thanked him for allowing the hosts to continue their work during what she called politically turbulent times. Instead of just accepting her thanks, Iger used this moment to deliver his own message. He told Navarro that while he supported the show, The View absolutely needed to tone down its political rhetoric. This wasn't some middle manager speaking, this was Disney's CEO himself making his position crystal clear. The conversation proved that pressure to change wasn't just coming from ABC executives, it was coming straight from the very top of Disney's corporate empire. Iger was personally involved in trying to rein in The View's political content. Navarro walked away from that face-to-face encounter knowing exactly where Disney's leadership stood. The message from the top was unmistakable. The political attacks had to stop, or there would be consequences. This direct confrontation between a host and the CEO showed just how serious Disney was about changing the show's direction. Disney wasn't just worried about bad publicity. They were facing real financial consequences that could cost them millions. The company had already been forced to pay Trump $15 million to settle a defamation lawsuit after ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos made controversial comments about the president. But the money problems didn't stop there. Disney was also dealing with a federal investigation led by Communications Commissioner Brendan Carr, a Trump ally who was looking into Disney's diversity and inclusion policies. This investigation could lead to massive regulatory headaches and potential fines. Meanwhile, advertisers were getting nervous about being associated with The View's constant political controversy. Big companies want their products linked to feel-good content, not heated political rants that might alienate customers. Disney executives could see the writing on the wall. Every day that The View continued its Trump attacks, the company risked losing more advertising revenue and facing additional legal challenges from the Trump administration. For a business that makes money by appealing to families across the political spectrum, having one show constantly generating political warfare was becoming a serious financial liability that threatened Disney's bottom line and reputation. Here's where the story takes a shocking twist. Despite all the corporate pressure and concerns about alienating audiences, The View was actually dominating the ratings. The show had become the #1 daytime network talk show during the first quarter of 2025, crushing competitors on Fox News and NBC. This created a massive headache for Disney executives. How do you tell a show to change when it's literally the most successful program in its time slot? The View wasn't just surviving with political content, it was thriving and bringing in millions of viewers. The rating success put Bob Iger in an impossible position. From a business standpoint, you don't mess with a winning formula that's generating serious advertising revenue. But from a corporate image standpoint, the political content was causing problems across Disney's empire. The success also gave the hosts powerful ammunition to fight back against corporate pressure. They could point to the numbers and say their approach was clearly working with audiences. This contradiction between ratings, success, and Disney's desire to tone down politics created an internal corporate war with no easy solution. The hosts had proof that viewers loved their political commentary, making Disney's demands seem unreasonable. The corporate pressure on The View didn't start with Bob Iger's direct intervention. Executive producer Brian Teta had been quietly asking hosts to go easy on Trump for months, starting in the weeks before his inauguration in January. These earlier requests created what sources described as low morale on the set. The hosts could sense their bosses were getting uncomfortable with their political approach, but they weren't sure how serious the pressure really was. Teta wasn't making casual suggestions, he was actively trying to steer the show away from its most controversial Trump content. The hosts found themselves choosing between following their producer's guidance or staying true to what they believed their audience wanted. The behind-the-scenes tension had been building for months before exploding into high-level meetings with ABC executives and Disney's CEO. By the time Bob Iger got directly involved, this had become a long-running battle between the show's creative team and corporate management. The early warning signs showed that Disney had been trying to solve this problem quietly, hoping the hosts would voluntarily tone down their approach without needing direct intervention from the very top of the company. When news of Disney's pressure campaign leaked to the media, it created a new controversy that Bob Iger never saw coming. Former ESPN host Jamili Hill, who used to work for Disney, went on CNN and absolutely destroyed her former boss. Hill accused Disney of capitulating to Trump's political pressure and suggested that media companies were being intimidated because they had business deals they wanted to protect. She made a point that stung Disney executives. If the ratings supported Trump coverage, why should they stop? Her criticism was particularly damaging because she knew Disney from the inside. When a former high-profile ESPN host calls out Disney's leadership, people pay attention. Hill's comments suggested Disney was putting business interests ahead of journalistic integrity. Other media personalities started piling on, accusing Disney of letting Trump bully them into silence. The story became bigger than just The View. It turned into a debate about whether major media companies were being intimidated by White House pressure. What started as an internal corporate dispute was now playing out across newspapers, cable news, and social media, creating exactly the kind of public relations nightmare that Disney had been desperately trying to avoid. This controversy revealed something much deeper than just a disagreement about one talk show. Disney found itself caught in a massive cultural war tearing through corporate America, with progressive viewers demanding political stands while conservative audiences wanted the company to stay neutral. Trump had been publicly attacking Disney for months on Truth Social, specifically calling out Bob Iger by name and demanding he do something about the losers and haters on ABC shows. The president wasn't just complaining about The View, he was targeting other ABC programs too. Disney was also trying to rebuild relationships with Republican politicians after years of political battles in states like Florida. The company had learned that taking strong political positions could result in real financial consequences, including losing special tax benefits. At the same time, activist investors were pressuring Disney to focus on making money instead of political statements. These shareholders argued that stock price and business performance should be top priorities, not taking sides in political debates. For Bob Iger, managing all these competing pressures while running a massive entertainment empire was becoming an impossible balancing act that threatened to tear the company apart. Despite all the corporate pressure and direct conversations with Disney's CEO, The View hosts made it clear they weren't backing down. They continued their political commentary in the months following the confrontation, proving they were willing to risk their jobs rather than compromise their mission. The standoff created ongoing tension with no clear resolution. Disney couldn't force the host to abandon politics without risking a public relations disaster and potential legal challenges. But they also couldn't ignore mounting pressure from advertisers and Trump administration officials. Sources revealed that not all hosts were united in their resistance. While some were completely defiant about continuing political focus, others were more willing to consider Disney's requests for balance. This internal division added another layer of complexity to the messy situation. The future of The View remained hanging in the balance. Would Disney eventually cancel the show entirely? Would they replace controversial hosts with personalities willing to focus on lighter topics? Or would the hosts win this corporate power struggle? The battle between Disney's business interests and The View's political mission had become a test case for how major media companies handle political pressure in an increasingly divided country. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one.